Free childcare helped propel my education. And though I'm no public speaker, it is something I truly believe in and am proud to speak on. Which is why it is an honor to introduce someone who always fights for hardworking families like mine, President Joe Biden.
Thank you, Garcia. Thank you for the introduction. And former Speaker Pelosi, members of the Congress, members of union labor that are here today to make a lot of this possible. So many of you. Thank you for being here. The Vice President is in Nevada today fighting for reproductive rights for women, but I know she wanted to be here as well because this is an issue she's worked on her whole career. I want to thank members of the Congress who have spent decades in the trenches fighting for this issue. I want to thank the advocates and proud union members who are here. Without you, none of this progress, in my view, would be possible. And by the way, that's why every worker needs to be free to make the choice to join a union. Thank you, care workers and family caregivers, for doing God's work, taking care of our children, our parents, and those we love so dearly. You care for the people we value the most in the whole world. And I want you to know how much we value you, and I mean that. We're here today to take action on an issue that's fundamental to who we are as a nation, who we are as a country. How do we treat the people we care so much about? Who needs the most help? Our children, people we love, people with disabilities, including veterans. And how do we value those caring for them? Child care workers, nurses, home care workers, family caregivers. The executive order I'm about to sign is the most comprehensive set of actions any administration has taken to date to increase access to high-quality child care and long-term care and support for the caregivers. You know, under this order, almost every federal agency will collectively take over 50 actions to provide more peace of mind for families and dignity for care workers and who deserve jobs with good pay and good benefits. The executive order doesn't require any new spending. It's about making sure taxpayers will get the best value for the investments they've already made. For example, we used last year's increase in Head Start funding to take steps to recruit and retain workers by increasing wages so that families who need affordable care can get it. Like I called for in my State of the Union address, we're going to improve long-term care by strengthening staffing standards at nursing homes. And I also instructed the Department of Health and Human Services to figure out how home care workers can get the pay they deserve with the money already allocated. Directing the VA, the Veterans Administration, to cut red tape and give veterans who need assistance at home more flexibility to pick their own caregivers. I've heard directly from the veterans that this is one of the top priorities for them. To ensure we have enough care workers, we're expanding partnerships with community colleges, registered apprenticeship programs, and the AmeriCorps. You know, more than 1 in every 5 adults is a family caregiver. This order recognizes the labor of love to make sure family caregivers are involved and informed when the hospital discharges the one they love, that the caregivers know about the Medicare benefits their loved one qualifies for, that caregivers of veterans have access to mental health support. Folks, there's a lot we can do. We're doing all of this. Why? Because right now, the cost of care is too high. For seniors in nursing homes, for working families with young children, pay for care workers is too low. And that's why so many are leaving the whole endeavor. In fact, half the long-term care workforce, nearly 20% of child care workforce, leave their jobs each year, making it even harder for families to find the help they need. And family members are too often forced to leave their own good jobs behind, to stay home to be mom and dad. The United States of America, we should have no one. No one should have to choose between caring for the parents who raise them, the children who depend on them, or the paycheck they rely on to take care of both. You know, too many folks lie awake at night wondering, Mom can't take care of herself at home. What are we going to do? So you still have to move to the nursing home. We're going to be able to afford it. Can I still afford to get the kids through college? Save for retirement? How do I do it all? If I take that better job with better pay, longer hours, will I be able to take care of my kids? Or will it cost me more than I get the raise and the paycheck I'm about the new job I'm about to have? If you live in a major American city, you can pay more than $17,000 a year, as all of you know, per child for child care in order to be able to go to work. For a lot of families, that's more than you pay for your rent, your mortgage, your college education of your children. You can all imagine a young couple expecting their first child, thinking they should be really excited, but instead they're a little bit scared. They already need 2 paychecks to make things meet now. They're going to be able to do it. They're going to be able to do it and keep the job, or they're going to be able to afford child care when the baby comes. Meanwhile, long-term care costs for the elderly or people with disabilities are up 40%, cost up 40% over the past decade. Some of you have had to spend your own retirement savings to care for your parents. Imagine, Dad lived in a house his whole life. He can't manage his own house anymore. He has trouble getting around. He needs his little self to stay home. So someone just to look at the dinner, just to be able to shovel the sidewalk, etc. Just to be able to stay where he was. Who's going to go tell Dad? He probably had that conversation somewhere. Who's going to tell Dad? Can't stay in the house. Can't stay home. Got to go to a nursing home. Millions of Americans are stuck in the middle. Part of the so-called sandwich generation. Caring for young children and elderly parents at the same time. It's overwhelming. I get it. I was a single parent for 5 years with 2 young children after my wife and daughter were killed in an accident. Thank God I had family to rely on. There's a reason why, by the way, a lot of people don't really come with families that are going to live under other kingdoms. They can't afford to. My sister, my brother, my brother-in-law, my mother, they all chipped in. My sister and her husband gave up their home, moved in where I live, just to be there to help me with my kids. Folks, you know, I couldn't have done it without their help. I couldn't have made it. I was making a good salary. I was making, I think we got paid $45,000 a year then. And that was more money than I ever made in my life. And I couldn't possibly. That's why I commuted every single day for 36 years. So I could be home. Because I couldn't sell my home and get reelected without having a home bill around. Couldn't move down here and afford it. And I had a big family. I had help. I often ask myself, what thing God's name would I have done? Not a joke. And I did not have the family I had. Over the years, Jill and I took care of both our parents, all 4 of our parents, but they didn't have to take all 4 on God's son. So my point is, we were with our parents to the very end. We could do it. We could afford to do it because of where we were. We had housing to be able to bring them in. We understand. In the pandemic, we made even clear just how hard it is for millions of working middle-class families to provide care for their families. It's not just how important the care economy is to the entire economy. It's when people have to leave the labor force that can't enter in the first place because caregiver responsibility. They can't fully participate in the economy. That drags down the whole nation's productivity. Overall, care work is demanding, as many of you in this audience know. Requires serious skill. But these workers are among the lowest paid workers in the country. As soon as I got in office, I signed the American Rescue Plan to help millions of families afford child care. Congress was able to keep 200,000 child care advisors, providers, many of them in small women-owned businesses, keep their doors open during the pandemic, taking care of as many as 9.6 million children during the pandemic because of that act. 1/3 of child care providers said they would have to shut down for good without the help. Instead, the American Rescue Plan helped them stay afloat, and in many cases increased pay for the child care workers. Those will also help states expand and strengthen Medicaid home care programs. They also increased child care and development block grants, helping more low-income families afford child care. You know, we issued the first ever much-needed national strategy on slots. Even more would lose access to child care altogether. It would mean higher costs for housing, especially for older Americans, for veterans, people with disabilities, and families with children. Longer wait times for Social Security and Medicare benefits, robbing seniors of their healthy meals. 30 million fewer veteran outpatient visits, leaving our brave warriors unable to get checkups, mental health services, treatment for substance abuse disorders. Congress just passed the PACT Act, which I was very proud of, to help with bipartisan, to help veterans exposed to toxic burn pits like my son. And these cuts will make it harder for us to meet that sacred obligation to protect those we send into harm's way and care for them and their families when they return home. They would deny tens of thousands of people suffering from opioid addiction, epidemic addiction, treatment they need for recovery. We're also planning other cuts as well. They've cut 10 million people, including 4 million children, would lose food assistance programs. Changes to Medicaid would also cause millions of people to lose their health care. And now, what the speaker didn't tell you is the MAGA Republicans in Congress are still supporting over $3 trillion in tax giveaways that overwhelmingly benefit the wealthiest Americans and biggest corporations. I might add, we have now about 1,000 billionaires. You know what the average tax rate is? 3, T-H-R-E-E%. 3%. And the cuts to those critical programs I talked about won't go to reduce the deficit after all. They just pay for the rest of the MAGA Republican agenda, massive tax cuts, giveaways, and gear up for the rich and large corporations who acknowledge they don't need it. Folks, if the MAGA Republican in Congress won't ask the wealthy or big corporations to pay $1 more in taxes, but they'll make a 22% cut to programs across the board like education, scientific research, basic services people rely on. Then they should tell the American people what that means and why they're doing it. It means they want to go back to the same old trickle-down economic theories of the past, while we, the economy, has been growing from the middle out and the bottom up, this sideline. Instead of investing in kids and cutting taxes on families and children, MAGA Republicans in Congress support more than $3 trillion in tax cuts and giveaways over the next 10 years toward those at the very top of the agenda, on the income agenda. You know, on the other hand, as I said, in my first 2 years, we brought down the deficit by a record $1.7 trillion. In my budget, I've laid out, cut the deficit over the next 3 years, next 10 years, by another $3 trillion. So I urge Congress to take the threat of default off the table. Pass my budget. Don't pass the least argument with what they don't like about it. Let's vote on it. But in the meantime, we're not waiting around. That's what today's all about. Let me conclude with this. The actions we're taking today are about dignity, security, and peace of mind for working families and caregivers all across the country. And they're good for the economy as well. When I ran for president to rebuild the backbone of America, middle class, grow our economy from the middle out and bottom up, not the top down. 2 years in, we're making progress. Let's finish the job. I can honestly say I've never been more optimistic about the future of America. We just have to remember who we are. The United States of America. There's virtually nothing beyond our capacity if we work together. And I mean it, nothing if we work together. May God bless you all. May God bless our caregivers. Now I'm going to go over and sign that executive order.
Oh no. Got it, Jim? See?
Oh boy. Please be seated. Sorry. Please be seated.
Executive order.
Distinguished guests, please remain in your seats as the President departs. Thank you.